On display at the Buffalo Naval Park was flown by Congressional Medal of Honor winner Lieutenant Colonel Arthur Bill Shomo. He flew the plane in over 200 combat missions long after the War Department had classed it as obsolete.
The Pacific War did not have the priority that the war in Europe had. As a result, we couldn't get new aircraft nor replacement aircraft until quite late during the war. We flew the P-39 for a year after it was declared obsolete even for training in the States. But it continued to function and function beautifully.
Colonel Shomo's P-39 was replaced with a new aircraft, the P-51 bomber, and it was in the P-51 that he performed the act of bravery which earned him the Congressional Medal of Honor.
The date was 11 January 1945. Two P-51s of the 82nd Tactical Reconnaissance Squadron were returning from a recon mission. As they came in over Mindoro Strip, the lead pilot, Captain Arthur Shomo, executed a victory roll, indicating that he had destroyed an enemy plane. Ground crews looked up surprised. But Shomo had only begun. He went around again, did another victory roll, and the men on the ground started counting. 2 planes downed. When Captain Shomo executed his 3rd and 4th victory roll, it brought out the brass. By the time he was making the 5th, the 6th, and 7th roll, no one would believe it. 7 victories seemed impossible. He was just showing off. Showing off? Perhaps. But with good reason.
We were flying in the Philippines and getting ready to make the landing at Lingayen Gulf above Clark Field. So they wanted to know how many Japanese aircraft in northern Luzon could oppose this landing. My wingman and I were sent out with specially equipped photographic type P-51s with guns on to determine photographically and visually what they could oppose the landing with. So in the course of making this reconnaissance, we spotted a Japanese Betty bomber escorted by 12 fighters, Japanese fighters, which was a Japanese fighter squadron. In the course of about 12 minutes total, we made an attack on the Japanese flight. I shot down 6 of the fighters and the bomber. My wingman shot down 3 of the fighters. The other 3 Japanese fighters got away in the clouds and escaped.
Certainly, it takes a lot of courage. That's why you got the Congressional Medal of Honor. But what were your feelings at that time? What do you go through as a pilot involved in that kind of action?
Surprisingly, I had been over in the war for almost 16 months at that time. This was, with the one exception, the day before, I had never had the opportunity to actually get a crack at an airplane in the air, that is a Jap airplane, while I was flying. I'd seen them while they were bombing our bases, but never while I was airborne. So the opportunity was the time of a lifetime, and at that point I made up my mind I wasn't going to miss. I would waited too long for the opportunity, and so I simply played cinch pool and fired close in and at point-blank range in short bursts and made sure everyone on worked.
How did the other men feel about this? Because I'm sure everyone during a war, do they think that they're going to come out heroes when you get involved in action like that? Was that in your mind, that I'm going to win the Congressional Medal of Honor for this action?
Absolutely not. Your most foremost and all-encompassing thought in war, particularly if you're involved in direct combat elements of the fighting, either air or on the ground or in the water, your only concern and most all-encompassing concern is whether you're going to manage to live through tomorrow, or perhaps the next week. You still have that all-encompassing fear or belief, fatality, or fatalism it's termed, that you simply will not make it through the war. You can't. The odds are against you.
How many times did you experience that feeling that I'm not going to make it, that this is the last one?
Until the last day of the war, I was still convinced that I wasn't going to make it. I felt that way every day of the war. I had every reason to believe that I would never come home.
Did it in a sense, your experiences in World War II are the stuff that, history books are written of. Did it change the way and maybe in a sense spoil civilian life afterwards? I know you stayed with the Air Force for a goodly number of years, but did anything ever match up to the heroism that you experienced?
There's nothing to compare with war. There's nothing that takes more out of you or puts more into you in another sense than war itself. There's no comparison to anything on earth that war actually means to you as an individual in it.
Do you think that it drastically changed the person that went into the Air Corps in 1941, the man that came out of that war? Did you change a great deal?
I don't believe so, although it made me a lot more practical in my viewpoint towards things that were important and what wasn't important in life. Life becomes awfully simple in war. You simply concern yourself with how you're going to live, how long, whether you're going to survive any length of time, what's your best methods of survival. That's all you think about. Life's real simple in war.
What does it feel like to be one of the few recipients of the Medal of Honor?
Well, I can only think back of the great majority of people who received the Medal of Honor. I'm talking in the order of 30,000 or more people who historically received the medal posthumously. That, to me, was the greatest price a person could pay for Medal of Honor or anything else. No greater gift can a man bestow on his fellow man than to give up his own life. So the people who won the Medal of Honor, as they call it, posthumously, I have only the greatest of respect for. Those few of us, some 200 and I believe 71 still living, who have the Medal of Honor, are extremely fortunate and never forget for 1 minute that that medal belongs to a lot of people, not just to us.
He went on to a distinguished peacetime career in the Air Force, and now retired, has never lost his original beliefs.
No greater gift that anyone can give than to lay down their life for the country.